Welcome back to the Nuzlocking, the Pokemon challenge where for every video I beat one Pokemon game with my crazy rule set where I have to Nuzlocke every game in a row as a generation lock with no repeat Pokemon. Links to my channel for the playlist of the previous episodes and a video dedicated to explaining the rule set in more detail. Let me tell you guys, I am glad to be out of Kanto. In fact, if I had to step one more foot in Kanto, I'm gonna... Great, let's just enjoy Johto, shall we? I will say on this saga, the Nuzlocking, we will probably be more focused on the actual gym battles rather than a rival or other pointless storyline BS, and that's for two reasons. Firstly, I have to cram over double the content into this one video, and second of all, the level curves in these games are absolutely atrocious, so it would just be me sweeping everything for the most part. Some last things to note is I actually recorded all of Johto in one go, and man, it gets crazy, so you're gonna want to stick around for this. Oh, and another thing, I realized I kind of never stated in my videos what my healing items of choice were going to be for each gym fight before going in, so I'm going to change that now. Actually, even better yet, here's just a list of every healing item I use in each important battle. There you go. So thanks again for all the support I've gotten on these videos. It means a lot to me as a small YouTuber seeing this community be built. If you want to be more involved in the community though, I made my own Discord server, link in the description. You'll probably even be able to talk to the main man himself in there, so you know, check that out and subscribe if you enjoy the series. But without any further delay, let's get right into Saga 2, Leg 4 of the Nuzlocking. We went through the typical early game and then took a peek at our new team in color. Wait, an egg? That's right, since we had a Jinx, Raichu, and Wigglytuff, we start out with not one, not two, but three baby Pokemon, which means we're really taking advantage of the new Johto mechanics. This also means the run is probably going to be quite a bit more difficult early on due to the lower base stats, but let's not worry about that too much and move forward. After taking down our rival and giving their info to the police, they recognized his YouTube handle and went to go commit some good old-fashioned police brutality. We caught a Zubat named Quandale and started training in Sprout Tower, getting acquainted to our new team member forms. I was a huge fan of the new sprites and the colors were very vibrant for such an old game, so you know, always a good touch. After that, we head on over to our first gym battle of the new saga, Volkner. Or is it Falkner? I don't know. We choose a potion for our healing item and lead with light to start off the battle with a Thunder Wave, but to my surprise, Pidgey knew Mud Slap, lowering our accuracy and doing pretty good damage. We trade hits, but after a second Thunder Shock, Pidgey is no more. Pidgeotto is out next, so we use Thunder Wave and switch out to Slicer X since he resists Falkner's attacks and has a solid bulk. I start spamming Harden like the professional trainer I am, while Pidgeotto destroys my little guy's accuracy stat to the point of no return. I only managed to get a couple scratches off before Slicer X get a little too low for my liking. So I use my healing item on Light and switch out to Booba to hopefully put Pidgeotto to sleep, but Booba ends up being way tankier than I thought and absolutely ate Mud Slap and hit back with Charm. We take a Gust and hit back with a second Charm and then switch back out to Light, who tanks Gust now and finishes the battle with a final Thunder Shock, winning us the first badge of Saga 2. Speaking of which, I realized something. If you're an avid Nuzlocking fan, you'll remember that poorly edited bit where I referenced how many badges and Z crystals I'll need to collect for the Nuzlocking to be complete, and I was actually wrong because I had not accounted for the Kanto badges in the Johto games, meaning the actual number of badges we would need isn't 272, but actually 312, and we have 25. Let's go! Next up, we do some typical Nuzlocke stuff, catch a Wooper and a Rattata, and then head to Azalea Town and challenge Bugsy. After blasting through these baby trainers with Jonah Hill, we head back into the grass to finish our training and end up evolving Jonah Hill into a Charmeleon. We then take our newly evolved friend and pit them up against Bug Shaker Commander-in-Chief Bugsy. Bugsy's Metapod and Kakuna each fall to an Ember, and out comes his ace Scyther. Scyther lands a quick attack while we use Smokescreen to ensure nothing crazy happens, as knowing my luck, I would be the guy to get swept by Fury Cutter. After a second Smokescreen and a missed quick attack from the enemy, we strike with an Ember and do some hefty damage. Another Ember gets Scyther into the red, but Mr. Hill has taken quite a beating, so we switch out to Slicer X to secure victory. I'm really happy with how the team's been shaping up. Booba has gone from the joke of the team, only ever joining to support a now long-dead Pokemon, to developing a solid niche and support position and has surprisingly saved the day numerous times. And Jonah Hill has went from a similar position, and as not getting much screen time even in the game he's on the cover for, to now being a more useful team member and even carrying us now since half our team has been nerfed temporarily. That being said, we make our way over to arguably the hardest and most notorious gym leader in Johto, and we were stopped by our rival, who now has a tricked out team. Booba gets put to sleep by Ghastly, but misses Lick and allows Booba to wake up the next turn and confuse Ghastly with a sweet kiss, turning the tables, or something. We then put Ghastly to sleep and switch to Jonah Hill and KO Ghastly with a couple Embers. Zubat comes out and we hit a Smokescreen on it, which honestly doesn't make sense when you think about it, and then we Ember it into Oblivion. Lava comes out and we just keep spamming smoke screen and then switch out to Slicer X. With our resistances and defenses so high and their accuracy low, we scratch and scratch until Lava is no more. Common Jonah Hill and Slicer XW. We make our way to Goldenrod and train against some trainers in the underground tunnel, and I find out baby Pokemon are surprisingly not garbage. Lola and Light were absolutely able to hold up their own in battle, which made me feel a little more hopeful for our upcoming battle with Whitney. Slight flash warning, I guess, because I start running at the speed of Light with speed up command to try and max out our friendship in order to evolve Booba and Light before the level cap. And after a little more training, it happens. Sadly though, Booba was not feeling the love, I guess, because she did not evolve in time, but regardless of that, I felt like we were ready for Whitney, who, in my opinion, is like the Sabrina of these games, and we head straight into battle. And it's Igglybuff against Clefairy. Clefairy uses Metronome and hits Spiderweb on us, trapping us. I didn't process this fully though, so although I knew I couldn't switch out in the moment, I didn't fully grasp yet how dire this was. We put Clefairy to sleep and after a couple more charms, and used Pound until Clefairy fainted. Whitney then sends out Miltank, and that's when realization sets in. I realized that our only hope for Booba's survival was to put Miltank to sleep and null its attack with charms, and defeat it with Pound. Rollout hits, while we miss Sing though, and another. And with our last chance, we miss. And Booba the fourth falls to Whitney's Miltank. Miltank was now at her 5th rollout, and I needed someone who would be able to tank the hit. However, I also needed to status Miltank in some way, as Kabuto's bulk wouldn't be enough by itself. So I switch out to Messi, who fell to Miltank's rollout attack. We had lost 2 members who had been with us since the first leg, but it felt different this time. I didn't panic just yet, and I didn't get angry. It just happened. And it was okay. I knew what I was in for when I started, and I knew I would get attached to Pokemon that I would end up losing. And both of these team members saved us so many times, so I was happy with how much they contributed. But it was time to put them to rest. But first we needed to avenge them. We send out Light and use Thunder Wave, and then spam Charms as Whitney fails to get a good rollout going. We then switch out to Slicer X and use Rollout, and Miltank falls on the 3rd turn, and we win the battle. I put our fallen friends to rest, and we push on to fight Morty. They were long-standing members, but we had plenty of legs to go. They would have wanted us to move on for the sake of Slicer X and Light. We head on over to the dance theater and I use my different team members to KO the Evolutions for Surf. Then we head to Morty and use our intimidation tactics we learned from Brock. I was just going to go for it and fight him, but I thought maybe it wasn't the best idea considering our only psychic option is stuck as a Smoochum, so after some careful thinking, I added an Abra named Cosmo to the team and got him up to speed with the rest of us. With our new team of 5, we confidently squared up against Morty. Cosmo one-shot Ghastly and Haunter, and out comes Gengar. We throw out another Psybeam and it just barely survives, allowing Gengar to counterattack with a Shadow Ball, one-shotting Cosmo. We switch to Slicer X and use Rollout, but Gengar lands a Hypnosis. Light's out next, and we finished off Gengar with a Thunder Shock. Haunter's out last, and we paralyze it with Thunder Wave, but Haunter decides to use Mean Look, trapping Light. We use Sweet Kiss to confuse it and then tank a Nightshade. Light then uses Thunder Shock until he's defeated, claiming us our 4th badge. As I was putting yet another fallen member in the box, I decided I needed to make some serious renovations to my team, especially since these next 3 badges happened back to back and we were only a quarter way done with our journey. I also found it kind of odd I had not found a Thunderstone, so I googled it and I found Thunderstones are super hard to come by in Gen 2 for some reason. But the only actual option we had was to sit and wait for a specific NPC who I thankfully added my contact list to call me and give me a Thunderstone herself. Meaning until the RNG gods blessed us, we were stuck with Pikachu for the long haul. Next thing I did was catch him a Chop, name it Star Platinum, and then go back to the box. After some more careful consideration, we add Quandale the Zubat to the team and catch them up in levels, evolving it in the process. Then we knocked out some Red Gyarados and fought Bryce. It's Seal against Light, and we one-shot with a Thunderbolt, but his Ground-type Piloswine stops our sweep in its tracks, so we switched to Lola and used Sweet Kiss, causing it to hurt itself in Confusion. Then we followed up with a Confusion, and it hit itself in Confusion. I've lost the meaning of the word. We trade some more Confusions after it heals up, but its Fury attack did quite a bit of damage, so we switched to Jonah Hill and took it out with a couple Embers. Dugong comes out and Light hits it with a Thunderbolt. She tanks an Icy Wind and secures us our next badge. Next we make our way to the fighting gym and get stopped by the leader's #1 fan or something. He sends out his Kung Fu monkeys, and they proceeded to get beat up by a little girl. After a little bit more training, Lola hit her Sweet 16 and evolved into a Jinx. With our Flying type Golbat and our newly evolved Psychic, we went right into battle. First, Chuck sends out Primeape, and we one-shot it with Lola's Confusion. Next, we switch to Quandale, who gets put to sleep by Poliwrath and hit with a Surf. We heal up and get hit by another Surf. We wake up and clap back with Wing Attack, doing half health. Poliwrath uses Mind Reader, wanting to land a Dynamic Punch. We hit with another Wing Attack though and secure the dub. After that, we evolve Jonah Hill into a Charizard and Quandale into a Crobat, and sail on back to fight the Steel-type Gym Leader Jasmine. Her first two Pokemon, which were both Magnemites, each fell to a single Flamethrower. Then, her ace Pokemon Steelix comes out, and I decide to switch to Lola. And I don't know why I did that, to be honest, because, you know, she's weak to Steel, and I'm kind of just dumb. Yeah, I think you know where this one's going. Lola died to a single Iron Tail. Another fallen member. And that marked half of our original team entering Johto gone. Gone on the first leg. I switched to Quandale and Land Confuse Ray, however Steelix lands an Iron Tail doing about half health, so I switched to Jonah Hill. He brushes off an Iron Tail to the face and retaliates with a crit Flamethrower, one-shotting Steelix. The big thing with this kind of Nuzlocke is it's optimal not always to carry a full team. However, we cannot afford to understaff ourselves, as if we have too few members and too few solutions to certain problems on the battlefield, one death can mean the death of the whole team. So, with that being said, we added Ronaldo the Wooper to our team and trained it up into a Quagsire. After that was done, we marched right on over to the final badge in Johto we needed. Claire, the Dragon-type Master. Right before we got into that battle though, we finally evolved Slicer X into a Kabutops, but we still didn't have a Thunderstone, so it looks like we're going to be using Pikachu for the Elite Four. Lucky us. Regardless, we decided to put Slicer X's new abilities to the test, using Slash against Claire's Dragonair, bringing it into the red. It retaliates with a Thunder Wave that fails, and we finish it off with another Slash. Our Dragonair comes out, and we slash it to half health before getting paralyzed. Predicting a Thunderbolt by looking at the movesets online, we switched to Ronaldo, and it turned out to be correct. We then get hit with Dragon Breath and set up for Amnesia, raising our special defense by a great amount. We tank a Slam and finish off Dragonair with an Earthquake. Next Dragonair comes out and we tank another Slam. Then we EQ, bringing it down to low. One more EQ and it falls, and out comes Ace Kingdra. We didn't really have many good options to counter Kingdra, so I decided to make a risky maneuver. I switch Ronaldo out for Light. We tank it and land a safe Thunder Wave due to Hyper Beam Recharge. I know I could land a Thunderbolt here, but it's just too risky. So we switch back out to Slicer X. We get hit by a Surf and immediately regret that decision, so instead we switch out to Quandale, tank a Surf, and land a Confuse Ray. We next land a Wing Attack and Kingdra hits itself in Confusion. We land another Wing Attack and Kingdra hits herself again, knocking herself out and winning us our final badge of Johto. It felt nice getting our 8th badge, but not like usual. We had lost many close friends along the way, and we were not even halfway done with our adventure. We made our way to the Pokemon League and tweaked our team a bit, stocking up on medicine and adding our 6th and final member to the team, the Machop, who we leveled up into a Machoke and finally a Machamp, and with that, we were ready to take on the Pokemon League. I was feeling major Ash Ketchum vibes though with my Pikachu, I'm not gonna lie. I was a little disappointed we never got that Thunderstone, and to make matters worse, it ain't even in Celadon City anymore. Anyway, on to Will. Will, the Psychic-type Master, gets his goose absolutely cooked by Light's Thunder, and then we switch to Jonah Hill for Jinx. We get put to sleep and then get slapped around before waking up to incinerate Jinx away. Slowbro is out next and sets up an Amnesia while we paralyze. It then lands a Psychic, doing huge damage, so we hit back with the Thunder, also doing huge damage. He sets up another Amnesia and we finish it off with a Thunder. Jonah Hill comes out for Exeggutor and gets heavily hit by Psychic, but we one-shot with Flamethrower and his Ace Xatu is out last. We dodge a Psychic with Fly and then get confused. So we switch to Ronaldo, who gets absolutely clapped and stomped by Xatu, so we use this opportunity to heal up and use Surf. After tanking another Psychic and sending out another Surf, we win the first Elite Four battle. Koga is up next and we send out Charizard for Ariados, and proceed to one-shot with Flamethrower. Then we switch to Ronaldo for Muck, who uses Minimize. Muck then starts to troll and poison us with Sludge Bomb, but I didn't even care because I just set up Amnesia and then bulldozed it with Earthquake. We then one-shot Venom off of Jonah Hill, and Crobat comes out trying to boost evasion while we use Fly. It heals up, and we take it out with a couple of Flamethrowers. Last and least, Fortress comes out, and we one-shot it before it even gets to explode. Lame. Moving on. Bruno's back at it again with Dr. Bust Down, so we use Jonah Hill and try to one-tap it with Fly, but this little loser knows Detect, so we just make a fool of ourselves. So despite it getting a good couple quick attacks on us, we take it out with Flamethrower. Onyx is up next, and we send out Ronaldo, who takes an Earthquake and sets up Amnesia. We take another EQ and use Surf to KO. Hitmonlee's up next, and we use Whirlpool, and it lands a high jump kick, so we switch back to Jonah Hill, who one-shots with Fly. Then out comes Hitmonchan, and so we pivot into Light, predicting a Thunder Punch and paralyzing after tanking a Mach Punch. We use Charm, switch to Jonah Hill, then use Fly, safely one-shotting. Finally, makes his debut and tanks a Rock Slide and almost dies to a Cross Chop, but is able to hit one in retaliation, getting the opposing Machamp low. We then switch out to Quandale, who tanks a Cross Chop and finishes off the battle with Wing Attack. We then made our way to the final Elite Four member, Karen, who wielded the Dark type and got right into it. We get hit with Sand Attack, so we clap back with Karate Chop, getting confused in the process. We hurt ourselves and get hit with Feint Attack, but another Karate Chop game ends Umbreon. Vileplume's up next, and we one-shot with Jonah Hill. Another FT brings Gengar to a Sliver, who licks us, actually paralyzing. But no matter, because Dragon Breath ended things off. Murkrow comes out and gets immediately sent back to the lobby after getting hit with Fly. And last up is Houndoom, who gets humongous damage in with a Double Crunch Deluxe on Ronaldo, but thankfully Earthquake took it out in a single hit. And just like that, the last Elite Four member was defeated. We slowly make our way up to Lance, knowing this would be a super tough battle, as he had 3 Dragonites, all with deadly movesets, but I knew if I took my time and played carefully, we would prevail. We challenged the Dragon Master himself, 3 non-dragons by the way, and sent out Light, one-shotting his Gyarados with a Thunder. Then we Thunder Wave his first Dragonite, and then a Thunder, but we get paralyzed, still landing another Thunder after. Dragonite hits back with a Hyper Beam, nearly killing Light, but she staggers back up to her feet and takes Dragonite out on the recharge turn. The next Dragonite's out, and since we took down the Electric Dragonite of the team, we switch to Slicer X. Slicer X takes a Blizzard to the face and hits back with his own concoction. Slicer X takes another Hyper Beam and then gets his get back against the Dragonite. We switch to Ronaldo, who takes a Hyper Beam and hits back with Surf, and of course KO is on the recharge turn because Lance can't seem to understand base power and doesn't make good teams. We switch to Quandale for the final Dragonite and almost lose him to a Hyper Beam, but we make the most of it and confuse Dragonite on the recharge, and then switch out to Jonah Hill, who gets an Outrage. We retaliate with Dragon's Breath and paralyze Dragonite at half health. Dragonite hits itself, gets healed, then smacked up again by a DB. We heal Slicer X with our item, and while Dragonite safeguards, we Dragon Breath again, and Jonah Hill gets hit with another Outrage, but holds on just enough to fire one more Dragon's Breath, and KOs the final Dragonite. Charizard is out last, and we switch to a full HP Slicer X. And we know that the match is won, because out of sheer panic, the Charizard misses 2 Hyper Beams in a row as Slicer X barrels down at Charizard using Rollout. It hits, and Safeguard ends. Charizard hits a point-blank Hyper Beam, but Slicer X doesn't even seem to notice as he crashes right into Charizard, winning us the Johto League. As we went through the typical Hall of Fame experience, I cracked my knuckles and prepared for the true gauntlet to begin, as Kanto Gym Leader levels were pretty close together and there wasn't much story for us in between, so what you're about to see is some non-stop action until we beat Red. We had to do some dumb side quest ship thing, but then we were dropped off in Kanto, and Lieutenant Surge was first on our hit list. Although I'm not gonna lie, some of these battles were really lame. Like, I don't even need to commentate on the battle because I just send out Ronaldo and proceeded to sweep his entire team with Earthquake. Next up was Sabrina, who met a slightly less terrible fate as we set up Amnesia and tanked a couple Psychics before taking down her Espeon with Earthquakes. Mr. Mime's up next. We trade a Psychic for an EQ and we both get really low, so I switch out to Slicer X, who tanks the Psychic and KOs with Slash. Then we switch to Light to paralyze Alakazam and KO with Slicer X's OP Slash attack. Next up is Misty. She sends out Golduck against Light, who KOs her Gigaduck with a Thunder. Switching to Quandale while Quagmire sets up, we confuse it and use Wing Attack against its Rain Dance. It almost KOs with a Surf, but we send out Star Platinum, who takes it down with a Cross Chop. Starmie comes out and confuses us, causing us to hit ourselves. I make a dumb decision and stay in though, as Star Platinum almost dies to a Surf and hits back with a Thunder Punch. We switch out to Ronaldo, who gets confused and jumped by Misty's Torrential Downpour, but we land a successful EQ and force Misty to send out her ace Lapras. We send out Slicer X, who tanks a Blizzard, and then a Surf while we heal up. We switch to Light and tank a Surf, then change our mind and switch to Star Platinum as rain begins to fall. We hit a Cross Chop and KO in one hit, winning us the battle. And then Erica was kind of just Surge Part 2, because Jonah Hill swept with Flamethrower. So, yeah, on to Koga. Oh, yeah, sorry. On to Janine. Anyway, Crobot's down to a Thunder, and Ronaldo kind of sweeps with EQ. Maybe Brock will give us kind of a challenge. What the hell? That was also way too easy. Okay. Let's try Blaine. Bruh. Okay, yeah, Kanto is kind of a joke, but thankfully Blue actually didn't let us down for once. We lead with Slicer X, and before we can take down Pidgeot with Icy Wind, we get Whirlwinded to Star Platinum, so we hit with a Thunder Punch. Pidgeot survives, so we tank a Wing Attack and finish the job. Alakazam's out next, so we use Meat Shield Ronaldo to tank the blow and set up with Amnesia, almost killing him in the process. We heal up though and continue to Amnesia. Then Alakazam uses Disable, and we clap him up with an Earthquake. We switch to Jonah Hill for Exeggutor, who sets up Solar Beam, and we do big damage with Fly. We then tank a Rock Slide with Slicer X and Surf Ride on away. We switch to Light for Gyarados, eat a Hydro Pump for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and KO with a Thunder. We switch to Slicer X for Arcanine, and we get hit with a surprising amount from a crit Flamethrower. We hit back with a Surf, and then we get switched to Jonah Hill through Roar as Arcanine is healed up. After trading a few hits, Charizard lands the final blow with Fly, winning us our final badge. After that, we made our trek to Red. As this fast-paced video was finally reaching its conclusion, we did some minor tweaks to the team as we journeyed to the top of Mount Silver. But I was feeling a little nervous. Things have been going well. A little too well. Kanto had been a breeze, and we had lots of deaths early on, but now we were doing fine, and to make matters worse, Light was stuck as a Pikachu for this fight. What would happen? Who would win? I formulated a strategy, and then began to approach Red. It was time. Take on the true champion. Pikachu's out first, and we use Ronaldo's EQ to gain an easy first KO. 5 left to go. Venusaur comes out next, and charges a Solar Beam as we use Fly, but we miss. But for some reason, Venusaur falls for it twice, and so do we because we miss again. Third time's the charm, and we hit. Venusaur charges up again, and we KO with another Fly. 4 to go. Blastoise is up next and uses Rain Dance, allowing our Thunder a guaranteed connect as well as paralyzing Blastoise. He gets us slow with a Surf, but we pull through and KO with another Thunder. 3 to go. Espeon's up next, and we send out Ronaldo. He eats a Psychic and uses Toxic as Espeon sets up Reflect. We get dangerously low from Psychic, but hit back with an EQ. We switch to Jonah Hill, who takes a Psychic to the face, Brain, I don't know, and uses Fly to stall out Espeon a bit more. When we come down, Espeon is down and defeated. 2 to go. For Snorlax, we pivot to Star Platinum. As it sets up Amnesia, we miss a low kick as it body slams us and paralyzes. But luckily, we had a Paralyze Berry I had forgotten about from the Elite Four, and we hit a low kick, doing massive damage. We shrug off a body slam and finish the Mon off with another low kick. 1 to go. The final Pokemon of the leg we have to defeat. Charizard comes out. And just like Lance, we switch to Slicer X. We tank a Wing Attack and then a Fire Spin and land a Surf, bringing Charizard to his Sliver. Surf and Flamethrower clash, and of course, we come out on top, defeating Red for the very first time and ending the run. Oh my god, this was a lot. Honestly, I think Silver and Crystal will be where the saga really shines. One issue I think I'm having as I'm editing this and, wording this all out is I used the speed up feature a little too much on Gold, especially since I was trying to beat these games as fast as possible. But I guess there's not much I can really do since this saga is going to be all about fast-paced action. 3 legs, 48 badges, and 3 battles with Red, not much time to focus on story, but I do manage to squeeze the smaller stuff in more with Silver and Crystal and really refine this hectic and downright chaotic saga. So with that being said, I really hope you enjoyed. Tell me in the comments what you thought, and if you made it this far, tell me who your favorite member of the team is, dead or alive. That's going to be about it, and you'll see me in Silver. Bye!